If you follow our channel, you know that we love cruising, but on our next trip, we're going to try another type of cruising.
Yeah, we're going to do things a little bit differently, but let's get into why we love cruising in the first place.
So why do we love cruising? We're going to give you our top 3, and it starts with it's cost effective.
Yeah, right? It really works out to your advantage in the pocketbook because the cruise essentially gets you everywhere without you having to pay for every single stop.
Right.
Right? It's one price, covers all. You can pay extra while you're on it, but that's a choice.
Our next absolute favorite is that we get to see multiple locations.
Yeah, instead of going to one place, like one all-inclusive resort somewhere, like a lot of people do, you're on a ship. The ship is your location, and it takes you around to a number of different countries or a number of different cities that you get to see at your convenience. So we really fell in love with the fact that when you go on a vacation, you're not just going to one place. Sometimes you're going to 5 or 6 different countries, which is kind of awesome.
Which is freaking cool, right? And then third, who doesn't love this? But your itinerary is planned, right? From food to entertainment to what you're gonna do on your day-to-day. Like, who doesn't love that? I love waking up and just being like, you guys plan my day.
Yeah,
That's
the
great.
simplicity of it is such an advantage, right? The fact that you're not booking the hotels or you're not looking for the best restaurant or deciding what am I going to do today or what am I going to do this evening. It's all planned out and laid out for you. So really it's just up to you to decide how much do I want to do, right? Because it's there for you for the taking.
Yeah.
And it's pretty nice to go on vacation and think, you know what, I don't have to think that much at all.
Or just look at the paper and be like, don't want to do that, don't want to do that.
No,
that
do
looks
that.
like fun. Yeah, like that's great, right?
Yeah, and that's the big 3. That's the reason why cruising is so appealing to not only us, but to so many people. Because it's easy, it's cost effective, and it shows you a lot of things that maybe would be difficult to do on your own.
Right.
And a lot of that plays into why we're going to try this new type of cruising. And you're probably wondering what that is because we hinted at it in the thumbnail, we've mentioned it from the get-go, and now we're finally there.
Yeah.
So what are we doing this time around that's different? We're cruising, but we're land cruising.
We are backpacking, guys.
Yeah, we're going to throw on the backpacks and we're going to ride the rails through Europe.
Yeah.
And the reason this has become such an appealing idea to us is, number one, Germany itself offers this special Deutschland Ticket,
Yeah.
which is essentially a go anywhere, do anything type pass
For 1 month.
to local travel.
Yeah.
Right? The only thing it doesn't really include are the high-speed trains. But otherwise,
We don't need that though.
yeah, you can go on the regular trains, you can go on the subways, you can go on ferries, you can go on streetcars, like little trams. It's all included with this 1 monthly pass.
Amazing.
So that in itself is very similar to the cruising feel, where you know at least your travel from destination to destination
It's
is
covered.
essentially covered.
Yeah.
Right? So that was the first thing that appealed to us. The second thing that appeals to us is in line with that, is that we're going to be able to see multiple destinations.
Yep.
Right? Now, the Deutschland Pass is only good in Germany, but I mean,
Germany's
Germany
massive.
borders so many different countries in Europe that it's very easy for us to ride their rail to a border and then just pay a simple price to ride the train across to the next country.
That's right.
So we've got options like Belgium, Denmark, the Netherlands, France, Switzerland, Austria, Czechia, Hungary. Like all these things are available to us. It's just a matter of where we decide we want to go. That's something that we're going to have to plan for. And that takes us into the third part, which is the negative in comparison to just standard cruising, is that it requires a lot of planning.
Yeah, that's his problem. I hate doing the planning. Cope is very good at doing the planning, but yes, it requires you have to look for Airbnbs or hotels. You have to see if, there's been a couple times where we're like, okay, do we want to stay at a hotel or do we want to time the train that we can sleep on the train to get to the next destination for the morning?
How many days are you going to stay in each location?
Right.
And how many other locations can you see from each location? So for instance, we're looking at maybe staying in Nuremberg.
Right.
But Nuremberg is only an hour or two away from like 3 or 4 different appealing locations within Germany itself.
Yeah.
So maybe instead of staying in Nuremberg for a day or two and then going to the next location for a day and then the next location for a day, we could stay in Nuremberg for say 4 days and just do day trips
Yeah.
to these other locations because they're not as big as Nuremberg. They're
Correct.
smaller towns that you can easily see in a day, which again is very similar to cruising.
Yes.
Right? Because what does cruising generally offer you?
They offer you a place to stay, right? And then you go off the ship, you do your day trip, and you come back.
Yeah.
Right? So it's essentially the same thing. It's just you don't have the comfort of the cruise taking care of, your food and amenities and all that other extra stuff that you have to pre-plan for it when you do by yourself.
That's right. And
So-
one of the things we mentioned off the get-go that is a bonus to cruising is that it's relatively inexpensive, right? So trying to keep the budget down, planning a land cruise like we are this time, it's a challenge.
Yep.
It's not easy
Nope.
because you got to factor in your stay. You got to factor in food. Food is a big bonus on a cruise.
Oh my goodness, because
It's one of the biggest bonuses you get because when you look at your per day cost on a cruise ship, depending on which cruise you're on. Now, generally we go for premium cruises. So you're talking Celebrity, Princess,
Holland
America, Virgin, Cunard, like these are the premium lines. With those lines, you're usually looking at somewhere between $100 and $200 per day cost
Yeah.
to be on ship. If you convert that to it's probably going to cost you $100, maybe just to find lodging
Right.
at a specific city in Europe.
Yeah.
So then that food is like free on a ship, really, because now we're paying for it.
Right.
Right? The other advantage on a ship is you're not just getting regular everyday meals.
No, you're getting like your 3 diner course
Yeah,
meals,
high
and
end.
then you go to your buffet when you feel peckish or
Yeah.
hungry, or if you want just to have a meal in the buffet. So food's available to you pretty much 24/7 on a cruise ship when you're on land.
At a high level.
Right.
At a high level. So when we're doing this land cruise, we have to decide, are we going to eat at a elevated style restaurant
Probably not.
particular nights? Or are we going to, pop into a hamburger joint and just get a hamburger and fries?
Yep.
Like, being in Germany, are we going to get just like a bratwurst?
I'm
right?
gonna rock those bratwursts.
And sauerkraut.
It's
right?
gonna be bratwurst and beer,
Sauerkraut,
baby.
Right? Yeah. So we have to factor that in. So
Yeah.
one of the advantages to it that Amy mentioned actually is that we're able to do this in a backpack, partially because we can pack less.
Yeah.
Because we're not having to dress up every night for
Yeah,
dinner or
that's-
even lunch.
I think we love dressing up. Don't
Yeah.
kid yourself. But I'm actually really looking forward to not dressing up on this next trip. I love the fact that I can put all my clothes into like a backpack and go, instead of being like, okay, I gotta wake up in the morning. I have like my day-ish outfit. I might have to change during the day if the weather changes, and then
Depending on weather,
you
yeah.
have your evening outfit. So I do roughly about 3 outfits a day when I'm on a cruise ship. Right? That's crazy. When I'm like, I can think of maybe doing maximum like 2 outfits when we're doing a land cruise.
Maximum. That would be a very
Right? And
specific situation.
Yeah, and that's if the fact that like either it gets soiled somehow, or if we're going to go to a fancier dinner that evening.
Yeah, and on this particular trip, we are going to pop in and get some business type work done
Yeah.
for the channel because we've scheduled a couple stops with different watch manufacturers, and I'll be dressed up somewhat for that, so
Yeah.
will Amy. If you haven't seen the video yet, check out the Tom Talk T66 Navigator backpack
Yes.
test. I'll put the link right here so you can
You can have a
check
good
it out.
laugh. You can have a good laugh
And
at
you
Cook
can
Getting
see
Preston.
exactly what I'm bringing along
Yeah.
as far as dress-wise, right? So I do have a little more upscale clothing with me, but not a lot, not like we do on a cruise.
No, not even close.
So that is an advantage, right? But getting back to the cost of it, we know this is going to cost a fair bit.
Yeah.
The advantage to this, though, is that we already know roughly what cruises of this length would cost because we're going to be in Europe for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? A 3-week cruise is not inexpensive in Europe. It's quite expensive,
Yep.
to be honest, right? I mean, you can find some deals in the Mediterranean because it's such a popular cruising spot. But for us, it's a less attractive cruising spot these days because we've seen so much of it.
Yeah.
Right? This is an opportunity that cruises don't give you to see locations that are inland.
That's right.
That's why land cruising maybe appeals to us now because we've done so much traditional cruising, that there are a number of spots we'd love to see, even in some of the countries we've been to that are just too far inland to make a day trip worthwhile.
That's right.
Right?
Right, because you know as a cruise ship, even in some locations that we went to in say Thailand, where it was like we had to go an hour
and a half,
hour plus away from where the cruise ports to where we wanted to go inland, and then we're like, okay, well that killed like, roughly 2 hours of our day.
Yeah, you get 3 hours maximum while you're there,
right?
And then you're heading
back. So like that kind of sucks. And we're like, hey, when we go back, we gotta backpack basically.
Yeah,
right?
And that's something that land cruising gives you that traditional cruising doesn't, is you decide the flexibility.
Yeah.
You have far more flexibility land cruising, right? We have the ability to say to ourselves, unlike other places we've been traditional cruising where we've gone off the ship, we had our day, we got back on, and both of us look at each other like, man, it'd be awesome we had one more day there.
Yeah.
Like I would have loved one more day there just to do this.
I gotta say, that's also like the perk to cruising too, is you get a feel for something and then you're like, that's the place I want to go back to.
You know if you want to go back to.
Right. Instead of just kind of hoping for the best, that you go there, spend all the money, and don't enjoy it as much.
Yeah, but with this particular trip, we get to decide.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this city's pretty big, and there's 8 different things we want to see. It'd be kind of hard to cram it all into one day and fully enjoy it. So why don't we stay there for 2 days?
Right.
In some cases, why not stay for 3, depending on what we want to do. So having that flexibility to design this trip the way you want to do it is a significant advantage, right? It's an advantage that's worth paying a little more for, because you're not going to miss out on something you really wanted to see.
That's right.
The other ability we get on this trip is a bit of flexibility. We can decide to maybe stay an extra day somewhere if the weather doesn't go in our favor.
That's true too.
Right?
Yeah, I didn't think
We've
of that.
been very lucky with cruises. We've been extremely lucky with cruises, even when we've gone and not the greatest of seasons, like the season where they're like, you're probably going to get some rain.
Yeah.
Because you're there in the spring and it generally gets rainy. Even those cruises, we have like one day where there's a little shower and everything else was fine.
Can't
right?
complain.
We've been very lucky that way, but you don't always get lucky. There is the odd time where we've been
Can't
like,
trust
oh,
Mother Nature.
too bad the weather was bad this time.
Yeah.
We would have done this instead. Now we can be on this particular land cruise and we can be in a specific city, and let's say our plan was to go up some mountain tram and be at the top of a mountain and see the views and such, and it's just rainy and gloomy.
Yeah, you're not going to do that.
We can say, well, we can't do it today. We can do something else, but according to the weather report, it should be cleared up by tomorrow.
Right.
So we'll just stay that day and do it tomorrow, right? Or adjust our schedule. Instead of going some other place, we'll go here because it's rainy, and this place we're going to do something indoors, whereas that place we're going to do something outdoors, so we switch it around.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that flexibility.
Right? So having that is an advantage to trying land cruising like this the first time. As a kid, I did the Eurail Pass with my parents. And
So
we
jealous.
bounced around Europe with the Eurail Pass, where you could go essentially anywhere. But we did it a little differently than Amy are going to do it, because we're on much more of a budget the way we're going to do it. And the Eurail passes have become quite expensive. We looked into it. You have what's called the Eurail Pass, which is good for all of Europe, and then you have like this sort of Interrail Pass, which you can get for specifically one country. Even the German Interrail Pass does not give you the kind of deal that you get with the Deutschland Ticket.
Correct.
Right? So the Deutschland Ticket is a real bonus for us because of the cost effectiveness of it. And Germany was one of the key locations we wanted to go to, because that's where Amy's mother's side family is from. And she's never really been there. Like, we've been to the Munich airport.
Yeah.
That's
So,
about it.
I can say I went to the airport, woo!
Right?
But I really want to go. I really want to experience Germany and everything it has to offer. It's, I'll give you a little bit of back history, but my grandmother came to Canada when she was 16 years old, and she just wanted to fully integrate herself into Canada and, kind of just move past how she grew up in Germany, because she grew up there in the war, and it just wasn't a good vibe for her. So she never really talked about Germany and never really talked about her back history or anything like that. So for me to go there now as an adult and really experience, Germany and everything it has to offer is special to me.
Yeah, and I'm very interested in seeing because I haven't been there since I was a kid. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it's changed dramatically
Oh, yeah.
since I was there. So it is one of the key locations for us, and then we'll decide which other countries we want to do with it. But it is one of the ones that we are specifically going to, partially for that reason, and partially because Germany is such an interesting country to begin with. It's one of the larger countries in Europe. It covers a wide area north to south, so that the flora and fauna is very different depending on where you're at. And then, of course, the architecture changes as well. So it'll be a very cool country for us to see. And again, it's mostly landlocked. It's mostly landlocked, although our trip does begin in probably its biggest port, which is in Hamburg.
Yeah.
And that is where her grandmother is from.
Yeah.
So that's where it starts. But yeah, this is something we've never done. We're looking forward to it.
It'll be so exciting.
I'm very excited.
I'm
but
so
also
excited
a
to
little
bring
nervous.
you guys on the trip too.
Also a little nervous. But we'll definitely shoot a ton of video
Yeah.
while we do this trip and give you an idea and maybe do a comparison on how we feel about it compared to traditional cruising. Is land cruising something that a regular cruiser can really get on board with?
I hope so.
No pun intended. But if you haven't yet,
Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos upcoming.
yeah, we'll see you in the next one.